Coach Shinnick Show. He is Coach Shinnick. I'm Tommy Thrall. Great to be with you this week. And, Coach, I know it was a tough one against Valdosta State, but senior day and a lot of fun festivities going on around that.
Well, a lot of great, memories at the start of the game with over 30 guys that we were recognizing. 3 of the original class in Anthony Riles and Marvin Conley and Antoine Griffin. So as those, as that group was lining up really with their families from, the 25 down to the 10-yard line, I mean, about 80 yards worth of people there. It was quite a sight. So a lot of memories. You're exactly right.
I know you don't get a chance to reflect a whole lot as the season goes along, but was that kind of an opportunity to take a step back and think about where you guys have and how far you guys have come with this program in 3 years?
It really was, and it kind of took me back a little bit because I didn't know what to expect, and but then just standing there, going through that, saying goodbye and hugging parents as they were coming through and talking to people, it really did. It kind of took a step back and said, "Wow, we really have come a long way." Obviously, this season hasn't gone the way the hopes and the expectations that we had, but what this group has accomplished in 3 years, really unforgettable and tremendous.
Still certainly a lot to be proud of and what they've been able to do. Any moment of panic when you look out there and see 30 guys that, oh no, now I've got to replace these guys?
Well, a lot of really good football players that have played a lot of, great football for us. And so, Anthony Riles has been a starter since he's been here. The 3 original guys, I mean, we haven't had a guy back return a punt other than Antoine Griffin. So that'll be a whole new deal. Ish was back there the first year, wasn't back the second year, and then back is, the third year. But Antoine Griffin's been the only guy to return a punt for us. Marvin Conley's played pretty much every snap, either as a corner or a safety. Another guy, Austin Johnson, he's the only guy who snapped a ball in a punt or a field goal for us. So you look out at that list and you go, wow, we've got a few holes that we got to fill.
And no doubt you've seen a lot of guys grow up quite a bit in that time as well. Well, let's take a look at the highlights as we get to the game. And, of course, you mentioned senior day ceremonies. Marvin, yeah. Anthony Riles as well, Antoine. So
yeah, the original 3 guys, and just so proud of them and all that they've accomplished.
And then you got to see what Rogan Wells was all about firsthand.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. I mean, you can't let him get out of the pocket, and that's really the only time we let him get out of the pocket. We kind of went up and under. One of our ends went up and under and created a lane, and then we had some guys with their back turned. We said we were going to play a handful of quarterbacks in the pregame show. Antoine there, that's really not his fault. That was our center's fault. And then Austin continues having some issues kicking the ball.
Rogan Wells this time showing what he can do with his arm through the air to his tight end for the touchdown. Then it was time to get things going. Nick Bell's showing off his arm.
Great ball, great catch. Really happy, Nick. First career touchdown in college. Fantastic job right there. Ish coming up big.
We're going to go back and look at that one again. And then how about this hit?
Wow, Alden McClellan just made his presence known right there. I mean, I haven't seen many hits like that. I mean, I've seen some on TV, but in person, you felt that. I felt that on the sidelines. I was 40 yards away.
Marvin Conley, the presence of mind to pick it off as well. Bell's having to scramble here, but he finds Litio for the touchdown.
Yeah, great job by Nick getting out of the pocket and finding Tate. And then probably one of the cleaner touchdown runs we've had. Really proud of the O-line and our tight ends on that to make that thing clean. And then here's what happens when you start to press a little bit. We're in the game right here. We've got this. We just need to, keep moving the ball, and Nick has a little pressure, gets out, and doesn't see the defender there.
They would run it in, and that would kind of be the icing on the cake at that point. Final score, 49-21. Tough one. Nick Bell's, though, not bad. 10 of 17 passing. Overall, you obviously can't ignore the interception, but for his first start, thought he did some things well.
Yeah, great first half. And again, for a guy who's never played in college and has been in the program for a couple of years, obviously playing the number 5 team in the country, number 3 team in the country, depending on the poll, I felt great about his first half. And really, that's what we needed to do. We needed to manage the game in the first half and then repeat it in the second half. The 2 turnovers in the second half via interception hurt us. The fumble late obviously hurt us. They piled on probably 17 points that, I don't think really could have, happened if we wouldn't have turned the ball over. But happy with what we saw out of Nick, and got to move forward now, getting ready to play a very good West Alabama team.
We saw Chris Schwartz recognized on Senior Day. I want to talk to you a bit about him a little bit later on in the show. Next, We head into Coach's office. We take a look at some film. Step inside the film room and break down some of the key moments from last week's game. This is the Coach Shinnick Show on the UWF Sports Network.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida, no limits.
Sunday, November 11th, you're invited to Jazz for Justice at Seville Quarter. This event is free and takes place during Fufu Festival and features Eric Lindell, Big Daddy and Red Hot Java, and KC and the Irresistibles. From a Sunday jazz brunch to an evening performance, it's a day of Jazz for Justice to help fund legal aid for our most vulnerable citizens. VIP tickets and more information available at jazzforjustice.org.
Mercy Ships is bringing services to countries that would otherwise never be able to access those services.
We just see people that need help. You realise that they have no way of getting help, and I want them to know that they're loved.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. We're actually in Coach's office right now as we do a little film session. I know it was a tough one this weekend, but what are we going to be looking at here?
You're going to take a look at two different plays. First off, we used a lot of different quarterback combinations, a lot of different packages. So the first play is Antoine Griffin playing quarterback in our tribe package. And really one of the things we wanted to do with Antoine is get him on the edge a little bit and then give him an opportunity to use his quickness. Offensive line is really blocking outside zone, and I think one of the key blocks that you see here is watch Chris Schwartz right here, okay? Chris, we practiced this all week long, a bunch of different looks. Chris is supposed to get the first thing that shows. Typically, he had been blocking that safety there, but he sees 47 show, and now he's able to make that block, and really Antoine's able to get up and get a nice 9-yard gain for us. So really, we got out of it what we wanted, and then later on, we set up the pass out of it, had Quentin wide open, just couldn't convert on it. So that was part of the try package. Really felt good about what we were able to get done.
Yeah. What about this next clip?
Next clip is, just kind of a milestone for Nick Bells here. First career touchdown pass. It's a 3rd and 6 situation. We really give him a couple options. If he likes the matchup in the boundary, he can take it. But then he also has a matchup to the field that really he's going to eyeball here. And you see him taking a look at Ish one-on-one. This is a route combination that we've run a lot of. Ish does a great job getting a fantastic release. And then Nick just throws a really nice ball. We actually get pass interference because you can see the defender get to Ish early. And, part of this one, we'll take a look at the end zone copy like we did last time. Part of this one is just, that's a great get off by Nick. Great timing. You're going to see number 78 here, Glenn Bethel, bump number 7 just a little bit, or this could have had a different result. And I think, you see a touchdown, you go, oh, man, that's a great throw like we looked at last week. But that's really great feet and great timing for Nick in order to get the touchdown pass. Again, his first career touchdown. Obviously, that got us back into the game, being down 7. Now we were down 14. Now we're down 7. Felt like we had momentum at that time and felt like we had a good opportunity to keep playing well.
When you talk about reads, I know we talk about that a lot. What's the read on a play like this?
Well, he's really got 2. Does he like the boundary? If you go back to this pre-snap, does he like the boundary one-on-one or does he like the field one-on-one? He's kind of looking to see which way the safety's rolling. The safety's going to roll towards the middle of the field. He's at a depth where he really doesn't affect either one. This route right here is probably the one that we've thrown a little more, and that's why he decided to go to the field.
Not a lot of time, too, because he's got some pressure coming.
He does, and you've got to be very quick in the decision making. And the thing I like about this is Nick makes this at about the 10-yard mark, you know, for the wide receiver. But look where he throws the ball. He throws it another 25, you know, or 15, 20 yards downfield. Really great timing. Doesn't run him out of the end zone. Gives him a ball that's catchable. And again, Ish is able to catch the ball while being interfered with. We get a touchdown. We get back in the game.
How impressive is that in a situation like this, where you're looking at a quarterback that hasn't spent a lot of time with this group of receivers?
Yeah, you know, and he gets a lot of practice in, he gets a lot of practice in practice, and he's been working his way through that. Really, he's been the number 2 quarterback since Sam went down. And, this was, I think, a great first half for him to come in to play the way he did, to keep us in the ball game and put us where we needed to be.
Talk about some of the other things you liked in that game. You talked about using 4 different quarterbacks. How'd you feel that worked out?
Well, I felt what they did was very good and very effective. We had 2 bad snaps from our center that really affected 2 of those plays. We turned the ball over in the red zone where I felt like we had great momentum, and then we gave up a snap on Twan where we lost 11 yards. So, people look at that and go, oh, mixed results on what was happening, but that was our center. That wasn't those guys. That wasn't on the quarterback. They were bad snaps, and they were hard to get a hold of. We were able to get the yardage that I hoped to get out when Gray was in. We used Gray kind of in an empty set with him and another back, and then we used Gray, as a regular quarterback. And so I liked what we were able to get done and the productivity that we saw out of those packages.
Overall, with the quarterback situation, what it was, a success?
Well, obviously it wasn't a success because we couldn't score enough points to win the game.
Sure.
And we turned the ball over 4 times on offense, and that's the frustrating aspect of the game. Our defense did a phenomenal job creating turnovers. We just weren't able to get enough momentum on offense to score when we needed to.
Where did you feel things really turned?
Well, I felt like we had an opportunity there when we scored and went up. We had a miscommunication on what type of kick that we were looking for. We kicked the ball to the 40. We were supposed to kick the ball a little deeper than that. That wasn't supposed to be an onside, but we wanted something different. I felt like that kind of changed it a little bit. We had opportunities. You can say it come down to a couple of plays. I think if Antoine connects with Quentin on the pass, I think it's a whole different ball game. But beginning of the game also. We missed a field goal, which we've been very, very, iffy in that situation the last 4 games. We missed a field goal early. We fumbled the ball in the red zone, one that I just mentioned. That could be a 6-point swing right there as well. We were in the game, though. 4th quarter, I think those plays that I mentioned really kind of changed it a little bit.
When you look at the kicking game right now, how do you get that turned around? I feel like right now it's just mental. The ability's still there.
Well, the ability's there, and the foot speed's there, and the connection's there. We're just not doing what we need to do.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about what comes up and how important this week is against West Alabama a little bit later on in the show. Coach, thanks a lot for breaking this down.
Sure.
All right. More coming up on the Coach Shinnick Show when we come back on the UWF Sports Network.
Can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
Facing life's difficulties takes strength and determination. Whether it's physical challenges or struggles you can't see, It takes strength to ask for help when you need it. Learn how other veterans have reached out and hear their stories of strength and recovery at maketheconnection.net.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Sunday, November 11th, you're invited to Jazz for Justice at Seville Quarter. This event is free and takes place during Fufu Festival and features Eric Lindell, Big Daddy and Red Hot Java, and KC and the Irresistibles. From a Sunday jazz brunch to an evening performance, it's a day of Jazz for Justice to help fund legal aid for our most vulnerable citizens. VIP tickets and more information available at jazzforjustice.org.
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. It's championship season for soccer. Both the men and the women were competing in the GSC tournament over the weekend in Montgomery. The men won over Alabama Huntsville in PKs on Friday to earn a spot in Sunday's championship bout with Spring Hill. The Argos got goals from Andrew Wentz and Cameron Bethel in the second half and outscored the Badgers after the intermission 2-1, but it wasn't enough. Spring Hill's 2 goals in the first half were enough, besting the Argos 3-2 and ending UWF's season at 11-4-3. It was a tough finish for a great season for Bill Elliott's team.
This team has been a really fun team to coach. We've scored a lot of goals, pretty far up there in terms of goal scoring numbers if you measure it against the teams I've coached while I've been at UWF. And so they've been exciting to watch, and they've put many games out of reach. So it's been fun. They've been a good group to work with.
We stay with men's soccer for a bit. Earlier, Will Kennedy had a chance to swing by practice for an all-new 60 Seconds with Jacob Murray.
60 Seconds with UWF senior goalie Jacob Murray with the men's soccer team. We always like to get to know you a little bit. Where are you from?
From West Palm Beach, Florida, yeah.
So you're in Florida, but people don't realize how far away things are in Florida. West Palm Beach, not exactly close to Pensacola.
Not really, no. It's like 9 hours away, 10 if it's really bad.
We got to ask, goalies are a little bit different. You're down there by yourself a lot of the game kind of thing. Is there anything you get music going in your head while the game's going on, that kind of thing? What do goalies think about?
We're organizing a lot during the game, but sometimes I'm thinking about like what I'm going to eat after the game, what I'm going to do after the game sometimes.
Outside of soccer, what other sport are you good at, and what's a sport maybe that you can't play at all?
I think I'm good at bowling, but guys on the team would say different. And I'm horrible at tennis. I can't play it, but I wish I could.
Getting to know the goalie a little bit, that is 60 Seconds with Jacob Murray.
The women swept their way through the GSC tournament. They won 3 games by a combined score of 5-0. A 2-0 win over Christian Brothers advanced them to the semis to face West Alabama. Friday, they beat the Tigers 2-0. Denisha Blackwood and Liz Vickers both scored goals in the win. Sunday's championship was a tight one with Montevallo. Liz Vickers broke a scoreless tie, putting one to the back of the net in the 64th minute for the game's only goal. Monday was the soccer selection show, and the Argos are the top seed in the regional tournament, which gets underway Friday. As the top seed, the Argos get a first-round bye and won't play until Sunday. They get the winner of the Lee Rollins match, which is Friday afternoon at the UWF Soccer Complex. Joe Bartlinski's team is 20-0 heading into the national tournament, where they made it all the way to the quarterfinals last year. The Argos are 24-12-3 all-time in NCAA tournament play. Coach Bart likes his team's chances this year.
So to be able to beat a great side like Montevallo, they deserve to be in the final. They deserved a bit out of this game, to be quite honest. I think our players have the idea of what playoff soccer is now, and that's what I'm proud about, is the consistency and pulling out those 1-goal games, 2-goal games.
Volleyball wrapped up their regular season with a 3-0 win over Auburn Montgomery. The Argos will host the GSC tournament as the top seed beginning this weekend. The Argos have finished the regular season at 23-7, paced the GSC with a 15-1 mark. The season coming to an end, that means the end of the year awards. The Argos did well. Mackenzie Chrisman, Jordan Poppin, and Nadine Williams all claimed first-team All-GSC honors, while Logan Kale claimed second-team All-GSC. Men's and women's basketball get cranked up this week. The men are coming off their best season in program history with the GSC title and the team's first ever berth in the NCAA tournament. Jeff Burkhammer is ready to see his team take the next step.
A lot of it's teaching right now with so many new guys, but sometimes you got to get them to understand that this is a very tough league. We've got to get started next week with playing games, and you got to be ready to play. You're going to play like you practice. We want to practice hard and practice well, and hopefully that translates into good games. I think the returning guys, Rashawn Benson, is a good place to start. You know, he's been a guy that's been here for 4 years and preseason all-conference guy. He kind of makes us go. So start with Rashawn, and then we got some returning guys that have played some. Alson Ka is a big kid, is a graduate student, and he's a guy that's got some experience. He's got some size. He's very skilled. The guys coming back, you know, I think Brett Carter and Henry Minanimi are the two guys that would probably make the biggest strides. Both those guys had good summers. Both of them are hard workers. We've got the house built. Now we want to enjoy some of the things inside and maybe start adding some fun pieces. The word I would use is consistency. You know, can we be consistent from play to play, from game to game, and from year to year? And if we can do that, then we've got a good program, and that's why this year is such a challenge.
They open play on the road Friday against Fort Valley State. The women also open on the road at the GSC SIAC Challenge hosted by Valdosta. The Argos will play Albany State and Fort Valley State over the weekend to get their season started. There are plenty of newcomers this year on Stephanie Lawrence-Yelton's team, but she has high hopes just 2 years removed from a trip to the Elite Eight.
I feel good about our size. I feel good about our athleticism. I think we've got some very versatile players. I like what they bring to the table. I think one of the newcomers that I think our fans are going to be hugely impressed with is Anna Hall. She's a very versatile point guard. She can score, she can pass well, she plays great defense. I also like Fanny Holme. She's a good three-point shooter, but she's very good off the dribble as well. Belle Bistro, she's been here for 4 years. You know, she knows our system. She knows the culture of our program. Haley Neiman obviously was an all-conference player last year, so we expect her to kind of step right in that same role. Tony Brewer, who's back from a year ago. She was named an All-American and was out last season, and now she's back, and we're just super excited to have her. You know, I think this team is going to play really hard. Got some good experience, but we are super young, so I think early you're going to see some ups and downs. If we can kind of bounce through those hard times, I think the sky's the limit for this team.
Both teams open at home in 2 weeks against Spring Hill on November 20th. Monday, basketball festivities kicked off at the UWF Fieldhouse with the first ever Argo Madness. Fans and students showed up to take part in games, enjoy some free pizza, and take a shot at free tuition for a year. Pep Band was also on hand to get folks fired up for a new season of Argo basketball. Both coaches introduced their teams for the first time as they get ready to start the regular season this weekend. With basketball on the horizon, there's still one big football game left. That's this weekend. The Argos are on the road to play West Alabama. And joining us on the show this week is senior defensive lineman Anthony Riles. Anthony, how you been, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Great to have you on. And I know that was tough for you guys along the line last week. Valdosta State's got a pretty slippery quarterback. How do you contain a guy like that?
Just had to keep getting pressure on the quarterback, just doing what we can defensively.
I feel like when you have to put pressure on a guy that is that mobile, you have to do it a little different. So what do you do against a guy like that?
I know just scheming up, just getting pressure, trying to get pressure off the edge, making sure we get hands, feet, and eyes right, you know, simple things like that. Do
you want to try to force him to one side or the other, or you try to force him into the middle?
Try to push him into the pocket, because I know you don't want him to scramble out and get outside of the pocket, because then it'd be kind of quick, so that'd be kind of hard.
Well, that was senior night. What did that mean for you?
Last time playing in blue and green, and now we was in our favorite jerseys, the navy blue jerseys. I love them jerseys.
Did you guys have, I know they're new this year. How did those come to be?
To be honest, I don't know.
But oh, okay. I didn't know if that was something where you seniors got together and introduced that.
It was just a big surprise.
Well, it was a good surprise. You guys liked it.
I was happy.
Talk about what your careers meant. I mean, this is obviously you were part of the first group that came here and started this program literally from the ground up. So what's it been like to see where you guys have come?
Career just in general, just blessed. Like, this is my second chance coming here, and I just every day don't take advantage of it. And just every time I'm on that field, I give it all.
When you think back on your college career, what's going to stand out?
Being here, just coming to Pensacola. I know I didn't even know Pensacola existed, but just coming here playing football and just being around the people, the coaches, just building these relationships. I'm always just cherish this and keep this forever.
How'd you end up here?
God. To be honest, God, because I didn't even know Pensacola existed. I thought it was just Tallahassee and down.
Well, it's been great to have you with the Argos, and good luck on Saturday. I know that's going to be a big game for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, one big one left. That's against West Alabama. We'll find out if the Argos can still keep their playoff hopes alive when we bring back head coach Pete Shinnick next.
You can't stop it. That undeniable charge. So bright, so loud. It rips through the clutches of mediocrity. It breaks down walls, blazes past old ways of thinking. It's creativity, pure electric energy. What will you do with it? The University of West Florida. No limits.
It's a miracle that springs forth to feed us, to clothe us, to bring us joy. A miracle prompted by rain and warmed by the sun. But few realize without healthy soil below ground, there would be little life above it. Learn more about this miracle under our feet and how we're working with farmers and ranchers to unlock the secrets in the soil.
Sunday, November 11th, you're invited to Jazz for Justice at Seville Quarter. This event is free and takes place during Fufu Festival and features Eric Lindell, Big Daddy and Red Hot Java, and KC and the Irresistibles. From a Sunday jazz brunch to an evening performance, it's a day of Jazz for Justice to help fund legal aid for our most vulnerable citizens. VIP tickets and more information available at jazzforjustice.org.
Water. It's life's most basic need. But there's a water crisis in our world right now. Nearly 1 billion people live without clean drinking water. About every 19 seconds, a mother loses one of her children to a water-related illness. The water crisis is vast, but we can solve it. Just $20 can provide one person with access to a clean water project in their village. CharityWater.org. Join us.
Welcome back to the Coach Shinnick Show. As we wrap things up, we've got West Alabama this week, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But first, we were talking about some seniors earlier in the show, and one guy we didn't get to was Chris Schwartz. And this is a guy that I feel like has meant a lot to this program. I know he's just a junior, but how important has he been?
Chris has been great, really played a tremendous amount for us in the backfield. One of the things that a lot of people don't know, I mean, he's probably one of our better punt cover guys and kickoff cover guys as well. He's been vital to special teams. Chris came in, tremendous GPA in high school, had over 30 or 40 hours that he was able to transfer in. He's actually graduating in 2.5 years, and he took summer school every time. He's got a couple of side businesses that he does. You know, you had him on the show. He trades stock. He does a lot of things. And, you know, I couldn't really think of a better way for him to go out. Had a fantastic last season. I think he's 3rd or 4th in the conference in rushing. Been a tremendous teammate and just a great guy for the program. And so obviously would love to keep him around for another year, but really proud of him and all that he's brought to our program.
Well, West Alabama's up next. Of course, this will be his last game, the last game perhaps for a lot of those seniors that you recognized on Senior Day. How important is this game? Because there's still a glimmer of hope for a chance to make the postseason.
There is. There's a chance. We obviously took it out of our hands, and now we've got to rely on some other people to beat some people. West Alabama's 5th in the region. We beat them. Obviously, they're not going to be there. We've got to, do what we haven't done the last couple of weeks, and even in North Greenville, play a complete, finish a game off. West Alabama's playing very well. We're playing spotty. If we can hit on all cylinders and, not turn the ball over on offense, I like our chances. And, I mean, I've felt that way. We've got 4 losses. I think those 4 losses, when we look back on them at the end of the year, are going to come down to about 40 minutes of football that we got to find a way to play better.
Should we expect the offense to look pretty similar to what it did against Valdosta?
Yeah, we're going to keep doing what we did, and we're going to expand that and keep finding different ways to get the ball in different people's hands.
All right, Coach, good luck. Should be a fun one, and look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right. This week, kickoff is set for 2 o'clock in Livingston. You can listen on ESPN Pensacola. 94.5 FM coverage begins at 1:30 with the Argo Kickoff Show. Of course, as we mentioned, a lot of teams in action this weekend with some postseason stuff. Keep up to date with everything at GoArgos.com. For head coach Pete Shinnick and our entire crew, I'm Tommy Thrall. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again next week on the UWF Sports Network.